This is my year of trail running.
So you came on interviewing me after UTA, and for like the first Australian. I remember when we had that chat, it being like, this is a really impressive, like it was a standout result. And from the outside looking in, like it seems like the year's just kind of gone from strength to strength to strength. Now come away with another third at COSI 50 in an incredibly stacked field, both internationally and domestic. When you're looking back at your year, like how are you feeling about it all now that we're closing out 2025?
Yeah, really good. I think, obviously it was a hard decision at the start of the year to make, but I kind of just went into the year being like, this is a choice I've made, so I've got to go all in. And I just kind of learnt something from each race and built from it into the next one. So, yeah, I'm happy with the result, but I also feel like I set myself up for it as well. In 2024, I was kind of dabbling between racing triathlon and doing some UTMB events. And by the end of the year, I was feeling a little bit stretched, so I needed to make a decision. So 2025 was the year that I just decided to go all in on one thing. I wanted to put in the work, train as hard as I could, and see what kind of results I could get. So at the start of the year, I sat down with my coach. He was on board straight away. I sold all of my triathlon gear and sat down and made a plan to lock in some races for the 2025 season. The two key races were UTA 50k in May, and then also COSI 50k. And then I just wanted to fit in some fun local events throughout that and hopefully learn something along the way. So I'm going to run through some of those and just kind of go through the learnings that I had from each of them. I had such a good time doing it. Running is something I've always enjoyed, so I don't know, like waking up every morning, I wanted to be doing the training, and I was excited for the races. As nerve-wracking as some of them were, I think towing lots of start lines and getting used to that feeling was a really good thing. And yeah, hopefully this inspires someone else out there to chase their passions.
So why'd you start your YouTube at the start of the year?
So I wanted to start documenting the races that I was doing and kind of like the cool places that we were going to go to as well. I really like the idea of making these videos and then having memories to look back on, and just as a reminder to realize like the cool things that we've done and I've done, and then kind of noticing that progress along the way, because I think it's quite easy to forget how far you have come.
So what have you liked most about making the YouTube?
I really enjoy doing the course recons. Obviously doing the race, sometimes I want to get out and see the course before race day. So being able to like go out, film some of the sections and explain them via some of the videos has been really good. Even it gives me a bit more time to look over the elevation charts, see what the race is going to be like. And then I've had lots of good feedback from people too, saying that they have really enjoyed them. They haven't been able to get out and do a recon themselves, so by watching the video it gives them a good idea of what is coming up. And yeah, I feel like other people find a lot of value from that, so that's quite satisfying for me too. So first race of the year was 2 bays. This
Nailed it.
So first race of the year was 2 bays. Now I did have a lot of time off over Christmas and New Year's, just trying to make sure that I was making the right decision, spending time with family, and just having like a pretty big mental break from racing. So coming into this one, I was pretty unprepared. I just wanted to have a good time, but it was also a very competitive field. So as soon as the race started, it went out pretty hot. I was just totally unprepared for how good the field was, how fast it was going to be. So when I did finish the race, I wasn't very satisfied with how I went. I got 5th and I was quite a ways off the front girls. So that really put like the seed in my brain to be like, all right, you need to lock in, you need to focus. If you want to be running with some of those top girls, then you need to put in the work, stop slacking off, and start training hard. Warburton Trail Fest was my second race. It was part of the Golden Trail National Series, and the race was Donna Double. So this was a race where I definitely felt unprepared. I also got a text message the night before that the event wanted to give me a tracker because I was one of the top females. So this was a little bit scary. I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself. Second trail race where I'd kind of committed to doing it, and yeah, ended up placing 5th. It was really cool because I got to know some of the girls that I ended up racing for the rest of the season. Next up was the Buffalo Stampede Skyrun 20k. That was in Bright, Victoria. First time I've been there, loved it. And
first time I took the time to sit down and kind of study the course, take some notes, make some kind of plan. And yeah, I actually still have these on my phone. So just wrote a few things down and basically ran most of the race in third place. And about 300 meters from the finish line, got in a second, and yeah, I was super stoked with the result. In May was my first goal race of the season, so UTA 50K in the Blue Mountains. This was a really cool one because we flew from Melbourne into Sydney, and then we drove up to the mountains with my parents, and Christian's family was also up there too. So yeah, it was really good to catch up with everyone. Felt really prepared for this race, so did a recce of some of the course a few weeks before, and you can check out all those videos if you're interested. I won't get too deep into them. Yeah, I was feeling confident. I really didn't have any pressure on myself. Caitlin Felder was racing, and obviously all eyes were on her, so it was just kind of about executing a race I was going to be happy with. This was maybe the first race where I had a bit of a plan to go out with the front girls from the start, you know, to start keeping them inside and try to see if I could hold on. Ran most of the race in third, and yeah, ended up finishing third place, 5.5 minutes off first. So I was actually really happy. This UTA race, it's now a UTMB major, so there's more qualifying spots to get into the World Series final that's next year in August. So I qualified for that, and then Christian also qualified, so he ended up placing 9th in the 100K. And yeah, that was kind of something we were hoping we'd both be able to achieve. So being able to tick the box, both get a ticket to head overseas, was a really cool achievement. So big race was done. I took about 2 weeks off after that just to relax a little bit, reset, make sure my body was ready to go. And then in July, I raced Sutherland to Surf. So this is a bit of a local race and one I have done a few times before. It's run in Sydney in the Sutherland Shire, and you basically run from Sutherland and you run to the beach at Cronulla. Good excuse to go home, see family, and then also kind of get something out of it at the same time. It's 11 kilometers and it's quite fast because it is a net downhill race. So in the past, previously, I've run it. I've placed 6th and then I placed 4th. So this is my 3rd time doing it, and main goal was try to get on that podium because there was a little bit of prize money there. So did some nice track sessions actually leading up to this one that I really enjoyed. And yeah, on race day, got to put on some fast shoes. I was wearing the Adidas Adizero Pro 4s, and yeah, just had a great time. Ended up coming 3rd, and yeah, definitely like my fastest 5 and 10Ks I've done for sure. So in August, Christian and I actually had a holiday booked to go over to Norway, and it just turned out that a race lined up around the same time we were going to be there. So Strandafjord Trail Race. It was a 25-kilometer race. Basically, like you run from a town up to the top of a mountain, and then you kind of like make your way across a ridgeline and back to the finish. And this was definitely one of the gnarliest races I've ever done. It was like 10 kilometers uphill, scrambling over rocks, but getting these like amazing, beautiful views along the way. And then, yeah, coming down, like the first section was like real slabby. And these Europeans are just like absolutely flying down this stuff. And I was like stepping and falling and slipping. And it was just crazy. It really opened my eyes up to, you know, how good these like overseas runners are. And it was the first time it kind of crossed my mind where I was like, you know, like trail running in Australia is here and everyone else is up here, and like, how do I start closing that gap? Having lived in Queensland for a few years, I was actually heading up there in September anyway to do some work. So with Sunday Trail Fest, it's a race I've done before. They have 2 distances. They have a 28K and then there's the 56. So I was really excited to get up there and get back into the warm weather, back into the tropics. It's in Airlie Beach, and yeah, currently I've got the course records on both the distances. So I wanted to do the 56, but after coming back from our holiday, I decided maybe the shorter distance was the smarter idea. So went over, raced the 28K. Main goals were just to beat my time from previous, and yeah, ended up doing so by about 7 minutes. Had a great time. Yeah, it was so nice to be able to get back up there, kick around at the beach and enjoy the nice warm weather away from Melbourne. In October, I made 2 changes to just some things that I was doing. So the first one was that I stopped drinking alcohol, and then the second was that I got a dietitian on board. So I really wanted to start putting a focus on my nutrition inside racing, but then also outside of racing, just to see if there was any kind of improvements that were going to be made from that. And especially seeing everything out there at the moment about people getting RED-S and like getting bone stress injuries. So I just wanted to stay on top of that for the end of the year. So coming into Roller Coaster Trail 1, 23 kilometre, this was the second single track event that I had done. I was feeling really good. It was the first time I did a proper 2-day carb load into a race. And I really liked that because it gave me kind of something to focus on during that like little taper week, that felt like I was doing something towards the race, just having a plan, making sure I was eating the foods that I needed to eat. And yeah, by the time I got to the start line, I was like feeling ready. I was like fired up to run. And yeah, it was really, really good. I loved racing with Sophie that whole time. We basically ran the whole race together. I knew there was an uphill finish. I knew I had a bit of an advantage on that. And it was the first time too in my head where I was like, I think I can win this. So being able to execute the race that I had in mind, stick with Sophie, and then push the end hill and then get the tape was, yeah, a really good feeling. Four Peaks was a bit of a late sign up for me. I was pretty hesitant, like I didn't want to cram too many races into this last part of the season, but it was such a good excuse to get back over to Bright, run in the mountains and get some good training as well. It was the first time I've kind of done back-to-back hard runs, and all of the runs were uphill. So yeah, they were tough, but the good thing was like not having the downhill. I suppose you don't really get the DOMs and the soreness that usually brings with it. So I just had a huge focus on fueling mostly around the race, making sure I was getting enough carbs in so that I could back up and I wasn't too sore. And yeah, it was really cool having Lucy Bartholomew there as well, and kind of just seeing the level that she's at and just seeing how much she seems to love what she does too. I did the 4 days and ended up placing second, but I did actually have a really good battle with one of the girls, Courtney. We were kind of like back and forth on most of the runs, and Four Peaks was such a cool event. I really loved being able to do a race, take like an hour or so, and then you'd have the whole rest of the day to chill out, but also noticing like what went right, what went wrong, and what could I change for the following day. The end of November was my last race, and that was Cosy 50K. So I've mentioned it a few times. I had my eyes on this one from the start of the year. It was kind of the turning point for me at the end of 2024, where I was like, all right, sweet, I want to be trail running. I don't want to do triathlon. So I was really excited to get there. We went out and did a course recce a few weeks before, and yeah, I just felt like I knew the course really well. I had a good fueling plan. I was going to break the race up into sections. And I think having done it before, I knew the parts where I could improve. And if I could improve on those sections, then overall I was going to get a better time. But yeah, I think biggest thing during the race was just focusing on the process, not worrying too much about the position. We did have some really good runners there. Andrea was from Iceland, and then we had Lucy racing too. So knowing those girls were really going to step up the competition was quite exciting, and being able to cross that finish line in third, not too far behind, and just knowing I'd executed the race that I wanted to was, kind of the best end to the year that I could ask for. Yeah, I feel like it's been a big year of actively making decisions to set myself up for the life I want, and doing that by having goals and, setting myself manageable ways to achieve them. And yeah, learning so much along the way. So it's been awesome. Christian and I are now living in Canberra and starting to have a think about the races that we want to be doing next year. A few I've been thinking about is the Snowy Mountains 50k champs in February, the Canberra Marathon, ready to pop some fast shoes on again, that's in April, and then head over and do OCC in August. But yeah, keen as to get around some like social events and just some fun stuff during the year as well. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're starting to lock in your 2026 race calendar, go back and have a look at those videos that we've made, and yeah, if there's anything else, like a cool race that you've maybe got in mind and you do want to get a course recon on and get a little bit of an insight as to what the trail might be like, let me know. But yeah, really keen to get out there and try some new races, meet some more rad people along the way. Also thinking I might do a little series on some of the park runs and get out to as many as I can, so might see you there. Thanks for watching.